Bitcoin has just surged to brand new highs following the US presidential election here taking place late last week. We also have brand new information about new companies holding or adding Bitcoin to their treasury balance, while also getting Elon Musk inducted into the Department of Government Efficiency. As a part of today's video, we're breaking down the macro news, but then of course diving into everything going on in Cardano. Without any further ado, let's jump on in. What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. My name's Fareed. As a part of today's video, we're breaking down the macro markets, taking a look at Bitcoin, the fact that it's basically touched $90,000, and the fact that we're getting more and more bullish news. We've just got Trump confirming that he's going to be appointing pro-crypto members to his cabinet. We have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, which have now been appointed to the Department of Government Efficiency. And then in addition to that, we've got nation states which have now basically doubled, or if not even tripled, the amount that they've now invested into Bitcoin. In addition, we've got Coinbase launching a brand new crypto index. And then of course, we'll jump into some of the biggest pieces of content or the biggest pieces of news for the Cardano ecosystem, with the Cardano Foundation announcing a pretty big partnership. We've got even more members outside of Cardano now more bullish than ever on BitcoinOS, followed by even more updates in the thriving ecosystem. As always, if it's your first time stopping by the channel, my goal is to help you find your footing here within Cardano and now spreading out into the macro markets here. If it's your first time stopping by, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want more content just like this and you appreciate this, definitely smash that thumbs up. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those down below. Now, if you want to take your support a step further, I am a single stake pool operator operating the Dapp Central Stake Pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. I would definitely appreciate it if you would consider delegating to the pool. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's updates, kicking off with the macro markets. As it stands, we now have over $765 billion, which have been added to the cryptocurrency market over the last week. Of course, again, this ties and is directly correlated to the US presidential election. A lot of people super bullish about President-elect Trump and the fact that he's basically vowed to back Bitcoin, potentially even adding Bitcoin to the US government's treasury balance. So this is extremely bullish here. Obviously, everything is up. Cardano up, I want to say almost 90% in the last 7 days alone. But moving right on over and continuing to discuss President-elect Trump, it states here that Donald Trump has announced that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge. Now, I don't think that this was done by mistake. This has definitely pumped the price of Doge in the last week. It's been by far one of the fastest growing meme coins. And I think that this could definitely be the narrative for meme tokens moving forward. Not only do you have Elon already pushing Doge, being a huge advocate for Doge, allowing for people to pay, right, for Teslas using Doge, but him now partnering up with Trump, with the fact that we now have this mega bullish altcoin season that's literally right around the corner. I think that this is a storm that's been brewing, and it's going to be a very big one here for anybody who holds Doge. Obviously not financial advice. Now, what is the actual point of this brand new arm of the government? And so here, I'm not going to read this all out loud, but it basically states that the goal of the Doge, or the Department of Government Efficiency, is to minimize excess waste or to cut wasteful expenditure and to restructure federal agencies, right, in order to basically save America. This will send shockwaves through the system, and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people, right, will basically be cut out. So I want to quickly highlight this here. I'll probably have more exclusive content just around the macro bits of news that come out over the bull market, but I think that this is at least a really good introduction into what we're aiming to see, or what we can expect with Doge kicking off. Now, keeping up with Elon Musk here, he, if you aren't aware, operates Tesla, which does currently hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They hold over 11,000 Bitcoin, now valued at $1 billion. We're seeing more and more companies beginning to take this particular approach, adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet with the expectation that over time, it will continue to appreciate. Very similarly, MicroStrategies has done this, right, with Michael Saylor, with him now doubling down, going back to investors, trying to raise fiat. That way he can double down and buy even more Bitcoin. Now, speaking of MicroStrategy in that particular sort of method, we have a brand new firm called Genius Group, which has now adopted Bitcoin as their primary treasury asset. Now they plan on acquiring an initial $120 million worth of Bitcoin. So looking here into the details, at the very bottom there states that number one, they aim to commit 90% or more of their current and future reserves to be held in Bitcoin. They'll commence by using $150 million to acquire an initial target amount. So more and more companies following in the footsteps of MicroStrategy. Again, I think a lot of people are seeing the benefit of holding Bitcoin, not for the short term, but for the long term. And for me, I think it's inevitable. So Bitcoin being the biggest asset, finally getting the love and the adoption that it truly deserves. Now, we're not done. We also have a brand new announcement coming out from the Coinbase team. This is introducing the Coinbase 50 index, also known as Coin 50, a whole new way to track the performance of the top crypto assets in the markets. So as you can imagine here, we have the S&P 500, which tracks all of the top companies within the Standard & Poor's index, if I'm not mistaken, or that's actually what it stands for. But it basically tracks all of the top companies all within the US. And so to see an exact replica of the S&P 500, which is basically one of the best hedges, right? If you're just looking for low risk and long-term growth, seeing the same concept now applied to crypto just lets me know that we are in the right space and we are extremely early. Now, it's amazing because we have protocols within Cardano dealing with indexes or indices. So I definitely want to give them a shout out here. We have the Matera protocol. They're dealing with indexes. They've already got a testnet up and running. We have the Maze protocol, which also has a testnet up and running. And then we have Linkage Finance, which I believe also has a testnet up and running there as well. So we're already planning to receive indexes for Cardano native assets. I also want to mention Blueshift, a DEX, which does also provides indexes or portfolios. But it's very positive and reassuring to see Coinbase, the biggest centralized exchange, now also adopting an index. Now, jumping over here, we have the price of the index right now, which currently sits at $389, down 0.5% or almost 1% in the last 24 hours. They break down some of the key benefits here, which include the robust methodology to swap new blockchains in and out, because again, it's an index, meaning that as different cryptos perform better or worse, they'll be added or removed to that particular index. It also highlights broad coverage and trusted expertise who are hopefully making the right picks when it comes to adding and removing assets to the index. Now, I took a closer look here, and we can see that the index currently consists of Bitcoin at 50%, ETH at 28%, Solana at 6%, XRP at 2.9%, Doge, again, DogeCoin, Elonn. I mean, I'm starting to see a ripple effect here with 1.4%, and then the remaining 10.4% going towards 45 different assets. Again, I dove a little bit deeper here. So if you do appreciate this timely content, the research and the time that goes into this, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. I do appreciate it. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. And of course, if you want to extend that support further, consider delegating with the official Dapp Central Stake Pool. So looking here at how they've actually identified what to include into the Coin 50 index here. Number one, they're looking at token economics. Number two, they're looking at the blockchain architecture. And then number three, they're looking at security. Now, one thing that's obviously surprising to me as a Cardano creator is the fact that we don't have a specific allocation just for Cardano. Now, it could definitely be included in the remaining portion here of the other 45, but the fact that Dogecoin gets 1.5%, I mean, at the very least, right, Cardano should be included in that. I mean, even XRP is also included in there. Now, granted, this could definitely be done because Coinbase has super close connections or ties with these different protocols or projects, but I think that it's super underrated here, the fact that ADA does not have its own sliver here within this particular index. Now, maybe, right, as ADA outperforms, the team who's doing all the judging as to what needs to be included in this index should not realize the power that ADA has. And in the future, things are rebalanced to have ADA with a bigger allocation. But as it stands right now, again, we have Bitcoin with the majority Ethereum, followed by Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, and remaining. As we move over, Coinbase is also now bullish. So they state retail has returned, welcome them back with their biggest trading offer ever. And that's a link back to the Coin 50 index that was just released. Now, talking about nation states here, I mentioned El Salvador earlier. Their Bitcoin investment has now surpassed a profit of $525 million. So not only do you have nation states this particular bull run, you now have companies this particular bull run, you also have ETFs this particular bull run, and you have so much liquidity. I have no doubts this will by far be the biggest bull run that Bitcoin and altcoins has experienced to date. Now, here focusing back on El Salvador states, the country's holdings have officially risen above the key $500 million level amid BTC's recent surge to record highs at around $90,000. Now, they aren't the only nation state either. We also have Bhutan, who has also seen its Bitcoin holdings surpass the $1 billion mark. Moreover, the South Asian nations, Bitcoin investment has officially accounted or is officially accounting for 1/3 of its entire GDP. Let that sink in. A nation state holding Bitcoin where that now represents 1/3 of their entire GDP. I couldn't be any more bullish on the valuation and the price of Bitcoin as we go into this last leg of the bull market. Now, in closing here, we still have El Salvador buying 1 Bitcoin per day. Again, this is, I think, the power of DCAing, slowly buying, not necessarily over leveraging yourself and not overexposing yourself, but still giving yourself access to that potential upside. As we get ready to close out the macro updates here, shout out to Pro the Doge, aka the Slum Doge Millionaire. I actually got to meet him in New Orleans last year at a financial conference when we were still in the very early stages of the bull market, but he had a movie, right, which was actually released about his trial, where he basically bought Dogecoin super early, one of the first investors before anybody knew about it, ended up riding it to multi-million dollars, only to diamond hand it and round trip all the way back to around $50,000. So as you guys can see here, this was when things were tough. Now he's continued to hold, and not only that, he doubled down at the bottom of the market, and he's now actually he's got an even bigger bag of Doge as it currently stands. So he's now, I believe, at around $2 million in profit. This shows the power of holding and in believing in a particular asset. Now, granted, yes, this was a meme coin. There was no guarantee that this would actually work out. But with the Department of Government Efficiency, with Bitcoin now in profit, Elon pumping Doge, I feel like this is about to be a mega run. And for Pro, he's definitely going to be able to recoup his losses and some. Definitely wish him the best of luck there. That will do it there for the macro news pieces. If you guys enjoy those bits, please let me know down below. I definitely want to expand the reach of the channel. So over the course of the coming months, I'll be talking about different networks, also talking about just the macro market news. So again, if you appreciate that, let me know down below. Jumping right into Cardano specific news, we have the white paper template to support Cardano's MiCA compliance being worked on by the Cardano Foundation and 2 European-based law firms. Now, I released a fully dedicated video about this earlier today. I'll leave the link to that down below. Make sure to check that out if you want all of the insights here. But to wrap this up in a nutshell, we have Lawside and Stadler Volkel, both law firms, collaborating with the Cardano Foundation in order to provide a white paper template for any project or any Cardano native token that wants to be listed or that wants to become MiCA compliant. Now, MiCA stands for Markets and Crypto Assets, which is a regulatory framework within the EU that any token has to abide, or that every token has to abide by, before it can be publicly traded within that particular region. Now, to quickly highlight here for anybody who missed it, NBX has partnered up with USDM, the team developing the fiat-backed stablecoin here on Cardano. And what they've done is basically provided the white paper and gotten regulatory clearance to actually mint USDM in Europe. So the first ever stablecoin to have gotten MiCA's compliance or MiCA's approval was USDC, and the second now being USDM from the Cardano ecosystem. And for anybody else that wants to now go ahead and apply, you can now go ahead and use this particular template in order to do so. Moving right on over, we have Nick from CoinBureau, who reveals that he has now invested in BitcoinOS, leading to more bullish vibes towards Cardano. Again, a lot of people, I think, have really slept on the value of Cardano. After this recent pump, a lot of people are sort of rethinking what Cardano has to offer. But for me, it's super clear. Just so much building going on. So it states here, And this is a quote here from Nick as he was speaking to Guy from CoinBureau. This is extremely bullish about BitcoinOS. This will allow for Bitcoin liquidity to be bridged to Cardano. And I've actually spoken to the team and we're going to be invested in them. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. Extremely bullish on what's to come for Cardano. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this live here and to see how big of an impact this has on the Cardano ecosystem and liquidity, as well as adoption. Now, moving right on over, there's been a lot of talks about the big budget for Cardano for 2025, where there's been a proposal out for anywhere between 150 million ADA to 300 million ADA, which will be withdrawn from the treasury in one single withdrawal action, which will then be used all throughout the year of 2025 for the continual development of Cardano. Now, if you've missed it, there's been a lot of conversations, but we recently got a article here from the Intersect MBO breaking down how everybody can basically participate in this ongoing conversation. And then there's also the release of a 2025 budget survey for Cardano. So again, if you haven't taken this, you can quickly jump over here. And once you are here, you can quickly go ahead and fill out all the different bits here, and you can go ahead and submit your answers for the Intersect MBO to review that information. So again, you can see here, you got the full name, email address, and as you continue on here, you've got more questions about how involved you are and what your thoughts are on how that ADA budget should be spent. Moving right on over and talking about World Mobile, we have batch 2, drop number 3, which is officially sold out with the Apex Airnodes, which I believe are going for about $16,000 a piece, gone in 60 seconds. This is, I think, the 5th or the 4th drop, and they've all sold out within just a couple of minutes. Again, a lot of people, I think, finally realizing and waking up to the DePIN giant that is World Mobile. If you've missed it, they've gone multi-chain, now adding the ability to swap or use WMTX on Cardano, on Base, on Ethereum, and the Binance network. Now, keeping up here with the DePIN theme, we have Mickey Watkins' younger brother, Josh Watkins, who's operating the Minutes network, and they've just released their brand new Network Explorer, which is now live. Now, this allows for you to review detailed analytics, including metrics on the busiest countries for their call termination service, as well as the busiest carriers, call history, network status, and so much more. So I've actually checked it out myself. Again, super clean, super lightweight, and very easy to read from a UI perspective. Again, I think this is a very, very young DePIN project. Obviously not financial advice, but definitely one to keep an eye out on. And the fact that Josh Watkins came from World Mobile gives me even more reassurance in how they're approaching this particular platform. Now, again, they don't have the community or the eyeballs that World Mobile has on them, but I think that that's actually an opportunity for anybody who's aware and understands their particular DePIN model. Moving on over and continuing to talk about DePIN, we also have the Iagon team, which has now given us an updated preview of their delegated staking feature. So for anybody who isn't aware, with Iagon, you have to basically stake some IG tokens in order to operate a node. But there are instances where people might hold Iagon, but not necessarily be technical enough to operate a node, or vice versa. They might be trying to operate a node, but don't necessarily have enough Iagon in order to stake or to operate that particular node. So with their delegated staking feature, this aims to connect anybody who holds Iagon tokens with an operator that needs Iagon tokens. And as we can see here, they've got a very, very slick and simple dashboard interface. Moving right on over here, we've got an additional preview here of their market, where again, you can see how much IAG is required to be staked, how much is being staked by the operators, and then how much is being staked by the potential delegators. So really allowing for the holders of IAG to put that to work, while hopefully giving an opportunity for node operators that want to scale their operation to be able to do so there as well. Again, we've got 2 more screenshots here breaking that brand new feature down. Now, moving right on over, we also have a pretty big announcement here where we have Iagon, who's now going to be collaborating or partnering with the Wurth group on an MVP in order to secure 3D printing IP or intellectual property. So stay tuned, we're excited to announce a new collaboration with the Wurth group in conjunction with Wurth Canada and a few other companies or a few other arms of Wurth that were working together on an MVP to protect and manage 3D printing IP or intellectual property using advanced Web3 technology. This particular partnership aims to enable secure access to 3D printing files, automated royalty management, and robust IP protection. Now, the team here does have a catalyst proposal. We have Dr. Navjeet Dalawal, which has put it in. But again, it breaks down the fact that they're aiming to provide more encryption and more safeguarding over IP when it comes to 3D printing. Right now, it looks like they're requesting 1.5 million ADA as a part of this particular Project Catalyst proposal. Moving right on over, we have the Xerberus team, which has just concluded their token sale. They've raised, I believe, 1.5 million ADA in the process, but we now have them partnering up here with the MinSwap DEX, which actually allowed for them to use their launch bull for their IDO or for their TGE, which is now integrated the Cerberus risk ratings. So again, super bullish on Cerberus, what they're doing, and the fact that they're now branching out and to build their own partner chain for their risk ratings. Jumping over here, again, we have the launch bull from MinSwap where we can see the 1.5 million ADA raised. And unfortunately, we did have another team, I think it was the Pandora team, which did complete their launch, but they did not raise enough. And then in terms of what we can expect next, I believe Sync AI, their launch or their token sale kicks off on 11/14 or on November 14th. And then the team from Tokyo, who's developing a wallet or a super Dapp, their token launch, I believe, takes place on the 20th of November. So definitely keep an eye out on those. As we get ready to wind things down here, I did want to give you guys an update on the ISPO rewards for the Cerra ISPO. If you're delegated to the Dapp Central Stake pool, you are earning the Cerra token, or at least you would have been earning it if you would have been delegating over the past, I want to say 28 or 30 epochs. And so the team right now has calculated ISPO rewards for their own pool, where the margin was set at 99%. However, they're now working to identify the rewards that'll be going out to the partner SPOs, which includes the Dapp Central Stake pool, where there's over 10,000 collective delegators. That will do it here for today's update, diving into the big news when it comes to Bitcoin and major adoption all around the globe. And then, of course, diving into the specifics here for the Cardano network. As always, if you found any portion of this to be helpful, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you want more content just like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.